Hey, what's up, guys? Rob Dial Jr. here. I want you to imagine this just 7 days from now. You wake up feeling clear, confident, and in control again, not because your life magically changed overnight, but because you did. The truth is, massive transformation doesn't always take months or years. It can start in a single week if you commit to the right habits. Today, I'm going to share with you the 5 habits that completely shifted my mindset, my energy, and my direction in just 7 days. And if you apply them, I promise you won't recognize the person you'll be next week. Most people underestimate just how powerful the first hour of their day really is. They roll out of bed, grab their phone, check their notifications, scroll through social media, and before they've even brushed their teeth, their brain is already reacting to the world. They're comparing, they're consuming, they're absorbing everyone else's energy but their own. And what happens when you start your day in reaction? You spend the rest of it chasing calm. You spend it trying to get back to balance. But if you start your day with intention, you don't chase peace, you create it. When I made this shift, I realized that my mornings weren't the problem. My mindset in the morning was. I used to wake up already overwhelmed, thinking about what needed to be done, who I needed to respond to, what problems I had to solve. And that kind of energy, it's like running a race before you've even tied your shoes. The game changed when I decided to take control of the first 10 minutes of my day. Just 10 minutes. No phone, no noise, no chaos, just me, my breath, and my thoughts. Here's what happens in those first moments when you wake up. Your mind is still quiet, still open, still honest. That's the best time to decide who you're going to be today. So instead of reaching for my phone, I started reaching for my notebook. I'd write 1 or 2 sentences, nothing fancy, just something simple like, today I lead with peace, or today I choose focus over fear. You'd be amazed how different your day feels when you give it direction before it gives you distraction. Then I'd take a few deep breaths. Slow, intentional, grounding. It's funny how something as simple as breathing, something we do every second without thinking, can completely shift our internal state when we do think about it. I'd visualize my day, not just what I had to do, but how I wanted to feel while doing it. Calm during the chaos, confident in conversations, grateful even for the challenges. Because when you visualize the energy you want to carry, your brain starts looking for evidence to match it. This is what I mean when I say start your mornings with intent, not distraction. It's not about some perfect morning routine. It's about choosing to lead yourself before the world tries to lead you. You don't need an hour of meditation or a fancy journal setup. You just need to make a decision. The first few minutes of your day belong to you, not your boss, not your phone, not your problems. You. Here's the truth. How you start your morning isn't just about your schedule. It's about your identity. It's a statement. When you wake up and take control of your focus, you're telling yourself, I'm the kind of person who leads, not follows, who creates, not reacts, who chooses peace over panic. And over time, that becomes who you are, not just in the morning, but throughout your entire life. And yeah, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. Your brain is wired for patterns, and right now it's used to stimulation, the notifications, the dopamine hits, the rush. So when you remove that and replace it with silence, it's going to resist, it's going to whisper. Just check your messages real quick. But remember this, your phone gives you other people's priorities. Your mind gives you your own. Which one do you want to live by? Every single day, you're training your focus. And whatever you train in the morning, you carry into the day. If you train distraction, you'll stay distracted. But if you train intention, you'll move through the world with clarity and calm. That's the real power of owning your morning. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you become through doing it. And when you do this for just 1 week, you'll start to notice small shifts. You'll feel more grounded when things go wrong. You'll respond instead of react. You'll find yourself being more present with people, more patient with yourself, and more powerful in your decisions. That's the ripple effect of one intentional habit. It doesn't just change your mornings, it changes your mindset, your mood, and ultimately your life. Because at the end of the day, success doesn't start with the big things you do. It starts with how you show up when no one's watching. And your morning, that's your quiet moment of truth. That's where your day, your week, and your transformation truly begin. You ever notice how easy it is to make promises to other people and how hard it is to keep the ones you make to yourself? You'll tell a friend you'll meet them at 8 a.m. and you show up. You tell your boss you'll finish a project and you get it done. But when you tell yourself you'll wake up early or eat better or finally start that goal you've been talking about, somehow the excuses come faster than the action. And that's not because you're lazy. It's because you've trained yourself to break your own trust. I learned something powerful about self-discipline. It's not about willpower. It's about integrity. Every time you say you're going to do something and actually do it, you're building a reputation with yourself. Think about that. Every action, every follow-through, every tiny promise, it's all evidence your brain collects. So when you keep your word, your mind starts to believe you. It starts to trust you. And that's where confidence comes from. Not from success, not from praise, but from self-trust. You don't need to do 100 things right to build that trust back. You just need to start with one. One promise? Maybe it's, I'll drink a full glass of water when I wake up, or I'll stretch for 5 minutes, or I'll take a 5-minute walk without my phone. Keep it small, keep it simple, but keep it sacred. Because when you do that one thing consistently, you prove to yourself that your word matters. Most people fail not because their goals are too big, but because their promises are too vague. They say things like, I'm going to get healthy, or I'm going to work harder. But that's not a promise. That's a wish. A promise has weight. A promise has accountability. And when you treat your promises to yourself like non-negotiables, That's when you start to feel unstoppable. There was a time when I kept waiting for motivation to strike. I thought I needed to feel ready before I could act. But here's what I discovered. Motivation doesn't build consistency. Consistency builds motivation. You don't wait to feel confident before you take action. You take action so you become confident. The hardest part isn't doing the work. It's doing it when no one's watching, when you don't feel like it, when you'd rather quit. That's the moment that separates the old you from the new you. When I started practicing this, I realized how many tiny moments I was giving away. Every time I said, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll start Monday, I was teaching my mind that my words didn't matter, and if your own mind doesn't believe you, how can you expect to feel capable, worthy, or powerful? That was the wake-up call. I didn't need to rebuild my life, I just needed to rebuild my credibility with myself. So I began with small wins. I told myself, I'm going to make my bed, and I did. I'm going to write down one thing I'm grateful for. Don't. It wasn't about perfection, it was about proof. Every kept promise became a brick, and slowly I built something solid: self-respect. Because when you start stacking small wins, your brain begins to associate effort with pride instead of exhaustion. You start to feel a quiet strength growing inside you, a kind of unshakable belief that you can rely on yourself. And here's what's wild. When you build that kind of trust internally, it changes how you show up externally. You walk differently. You speak with more certainty. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop seeking validation. Why? Because you already know you'll do what you say you will. That's power. Not loud, not boastful, just grounded, steady, and real. But you have to remember, this is a daily practice. You're going to mess up. You're going to miss a day, break a streak, fall short. And that's okay. The goal isn't to be perfect. It's to stay honest. When you slip, don't run from it. Acknowledge it, reset, promise again, and this time keep it. Every failure is just a test of whether you'll choose to rebuild trust or break it further. At the end of the day, your life doesn't change when you set goals. It changes when you keep promises. Because the moment you start honoring your own word, everything else follows. Your habits, your relationships, your mindset, they all begin to align. You stop needing external motivation because you've built something much stronger: internal reliability. So the next time you make a promise to yourself, don't treat it like a suggestion. Treat it like a contract. Write it in your mind, seal it with your action, and let every day you follow through be another reminder that you are becoming the kind of person who does what they say they will do. That's how you build confidence. That's how you build character. And that's how you change your life, one promise at a time. One of the biggest lessons I've learned is this: your energy is your most valuable currency. Not your time, not your money, your energy, because time is useless if you're drained, distracted, or emotionally exhausted. You can have all the hours in the world, but if your energy is low, you won't create, you won't connect, and you definitely won't grow. That's why protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's strategic. It's how you build a life that feels lighter, clearer, and aligned with who you really are. When I started paying attention to where my energy was going, I realized I was leaking it everywhere. Saying yes to things I didn't want to do, keeping people around who drained me, filling every quiet moment with noise, music, podcasts, notifications just to avoid silence. I was giving away my energy without even realizing it. And the truth is, every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you're saying no to something that could. Energy management starts with awareness. You have to notice what fills you up and what empties you out. Think about it. Some conversations leave you inspired, others leave you heavy. Some environments calm your nervous system, others make your chest tighten. Start paying attention to that. Your body is always telling you the truth, even when your mind tries to rationalize it. There was a point where I had to ask myself, what am I allowing into my space that doesn't deserve to be there? And that question changed everything, because it forced me to take responsibility for my energy instead of blaming circumstances. It's easy to point at people or problems and say, they're draining me. But the real shift happens when you realize you allowed it. You let that energy in, you open the door. And that's powerful, because if you let it in, you can also close it out. Sometimes that means setting boundaries. And I know that word can feel uncomfortable. Boundaries sound harsh to people who benefit from you not having any. But boundaries aren't walls, they're filters. They're how you protect what matters most. You're not pushing people away, you're just choosing what's allowed to come close. And that's not cold, it's clarity. Protecting your energy also means guarding your mental space. Every piece of content you consume, every conversation you entertain, every story you tell yourself, it all shapes your emotional state. If you spend your day feeding your mind negativity, you're going to feel it in your body. So be intentional about what you let in. Follow people who inspire you, not drain you. Speak words that lift you, not limit you. Choose silence over chaos. Your mind is a garden. Stop letting weeds take root. Now, here's the part most people miss. Protecting your energy isn't just about avoiding what drains you. It's about creating what fuels you. What makes you come alive? What makes you feel grounded, focused, or at peace? For some, it's journaling. For others, it's moving their body, spending time in nature, or simply sitting in stillness. Whatever it is for you, make it non-negotiable. Schedule it like a meeting with your highest self, because when you fill your cup first, everything else you pour into becomes more powerful. And yeah, there will be days when life pulls at you from every direction. Days when your boundaries are tested, your patience runs thin, and your energy feels scattered. That's normal. But those are the days when it matters most, because protecting your energy isn't about being perfect. It's about being aware. It's about noticing when you've drifted away from your peace and choosing to come back. Every time you do that, you strengthen your self-control, your resilience, your clarity. There's something beautiful that happens when you start honoring your energy. You start attracting people and experiences that match it. You stop chasing validation and start choosing alignment. You stop forcing things and start flowing with life. Because when your energy is clean and grounded, your decisions become sharper. You start recognizing what's for you and what's not. You move differently. You walk with purpose instead of pressure. So if you take anything from this, let it be this. Guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. The quality of your life is directly connected to the quality of your energy. You don't need to do more, you just need to be more intentional with what you give yourself to. Because when your energy is right, your world follows. And when you learn to protect your peace, you realize peace was never something to find, it was something to keep. At the end of the day, transformation doesn't come from waiting for the perfect time, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of yourself. It starts in the small, quiet moments, the ones no one else sees. It starts when you decide to lead your morning with intention, when you choose to keep the promises you make to yourself, and when you begin protecting your energy like it's sacred. Because those little decisions, they stack, they build momentum. They create a version of you that's not just surviving the week, but rewriting it. If you commit to these habits for just 1 week, not half-heartedly, but with real intention, you'll feel it. You'll walk differently. You'll think differently. You'll start to see that your life doesn't change by accident. It changes by alignment. The power to transform isn't somewhere out there. It's in your next choice, your next morning, your next promise kept. So don't wait for a new year, a new month, or a new circumstance. Start now. Because 1 week of conscious action can do more for your growth than a lifetime of waiting. The version of you you've been dreaming about, they're only 7 days away.